What's up, family? This is your man, not your boy. Go Black to Africa. Peace and blessings to each and every one of you all. I hope that your day is as grand as mine is, whether it's the morning, the evening, or the afternoon. I know that you all are going to at least enjoy some information that we have firsthand from a brother that is from the same mother, the mother Africa, that is going to at least give us some information on a video that I shared about some land being seized or taken and homes, houses, buildings, structures being demolished. And so I'm going to allow my brother to come in here, a brother that I well respect, a brother that I consider a true brother in the spirit as well as in the flesh, a brother from Dimona, Israel. Him and his family and the whole group of people that have left Damn Erica in they all started out in 1967, not himself at the time, but a little later joined them. But if you've watched my videos, you will see this awesome group of people who left Damn Erica, put the D in front of America, capitalized the E, and decided to embark on a total different life, a life of more liberty and freedoms per se, and as well as having a community that they can follow the Most High in the development of the mindset of a spirituality that they believe that is for us, by us. And without further ado, though, let me go ahead and bring my brother in so that he can introduce himself properly in the way that he finds fit. So, family, let me introduce you all to Sar Ahmadel Ben Yahuda. Did I say that name right?
You got it, brother. You got it. So you're getting fluent in your Hebrew now. Yeah, I'm Sar Ahmadel Ben Yehuda. Sar is my title. It means minister. In our community, we have ministers over different departments of government. Our organizational structure, we're not ministers in a religious sense. And my name is Ahmadel Ben Yehuda, and I'm a spokesperson for Israelites here at Jerusalem in Dimona, Israel, and Minister of Information. Information is my portfolio.
Okay. Here's the big topic. We've already got 265 people that have come in. So the numbers are going to be rising here rapidly because it's a big topic. I know Definitely. I know that many people have been drawn to Ghana. Many people, either because of the year of return that has happened, those that Ghana is new to, but also many brothers and sisters have been coming to Ghana, live in Ghana for 30, 40 years. Right. And this information that was sent to me that I decided to share that caught a lot of people off guard. It brought a lot of fear, a lot of concerns concerning property as well as land that we know that is going on by many people in the diaspora, not just from America, but also Europe and Canada and around the world. And so there are those who have acquired land, those who are sitting on their land that probably have future endeavors with, as well as those who have purchased properties that are really want to get a great understanding, maybe what has happened with this particular land in Cape Coast. Can you please share with the people your affiliation with this property out here, what transpired, and also maybe what's happening behind the scenes that we don't know of?
Sure. First, dear brother, allow me to give all honor and praises to the Holy One of Israel, to the Creator of the heavens and earth, and to all of our brothers and sisters who, past and present, have labored for us to have our place in the sun and to have returned back to our station and homeland. I greet you in the Hebraic tongue, the African Hebrew language. Shalom Aleichem, peace be unto you. And thank you for this opportunity to express our position about this. It is indeed very, very important, as I think the numbers that are tuning in would demonstrate. Our connection with Ghana goes back almost 40 years and possibly longer. I'd have to actually look at the calendar to determine exactly when we actually started to plant our feet and our blood, sweat, and tears westward and in Ghana. We had already spent years, obviously, in our very beginning of leaving America in '67. We spent 2.5 years in Liberia, also in West Africa. And so our commitment and dedication to our people in the Edenic lands, as we prefer to call Africa, in the land of Eden or Eden paradise, goes back and is very, very deep. Needless to say, when the news hit a week ago, less than a week ago, this past Sunday, when we got the word about the demolition that was going on the property, we were in shock about it, and it was obviously very traumatizing. But then again, we just couldn't just allow that to paralyze us. Our connection, we are a community. In fact, we are the largest organized community of African Americans outside of America. And we've always maintained a very close connection. We have a very strong organizational structure, and we are global in our presence, in our movements, in our communications. And so, we're very intricately connected to everything that was going on there in Ghana. And that's just one of numerous areas in which we are enmeshed and engaged with the Ghanaian people in terms of different ventures and immersing ourselves in local culture and the reality of providing a haven and a sanctuary, not just for those of us who come out of the West, but for our people there who are under siege by Western mindsets and ideologies. So we know that our whole focus here at Jerusalem was to provide a model that we can then replicate and then to propagate around the world, starting in the African Edenic lands. And so Ghana was that home base for many of us. I've been in and out of there numerous times. I was there as part of a team that was on the ground for 3 years with the ministry, operating with Ghana's Ministry of Health. And 15-member team sent from here, from Jerusalem to there to deal with preventive health lifestyles and teachings and preparation of food and principles and what have you. So this is just one of many ways. In fact, personally, I have a daughter that's married to an Ewe prince there, 3 sons. So we're very, very much engaged and involved and intricately connected to Ghana. So obviously this hit us a certain kind of way, but we can say this, dear brother, that land was illegally seized. And destroyed in the course of a day. Needless to say, we know that there are some other forces behind the decisions. I just have to think we don't hold any animosity towards whatever was behind it, but we're going to get to the bottom of what was behind it. We know that even my coming out of Washington, D.C., the intricate dynamics of land repossession that took place in Washington, D.C., and is still taking place in D.C. and all across America. Look at Jackson, Mississippi for the most recent and current example. So we know the dynamics of the greed and other things that can sidetrack those of us, who have a decent and righteous agenda. We know the forces that can be arrayed against us sometimes. So again, we were sitting on a 49-year concession. We were in the 24th year of a 4-year concession that has a renewable option for us. It's eternally renewable for us.
Did you say a 4-year or 40-year?
49 years.
49-year lease.
49-year lease or concession on that property. And we're on the 24th year of it. So it was illegally seized. There have been reports that someone said we had a 10-year lease and it had expired. That is patently not true. we've got the paperwork, and recently went through the various offices that deal with these types of issues to update our claims. So it's not like, that we're sitting on something. Even squatters have due process. You don't come in and bulldoze somebody's property. Even if you were squatters, there would be some type of legal mechanism and procedure that you would go through, even in Ghana. But so obviously, we feel like someone maneuvered to take advantage possibly of what they thought was an individual, not knowing that they had the backing of ourselves here in Israel and globally, but also the local expatriate and the local Ghanaian communities.
Let me ask you this right here, brother, because I know there are people who are interested in that. Who actually did the land belong to? And as far as the paperwork is concerned, is it a group organization? Is it an individual? I mean, who actually was this land being leased by?
I couldn't answer that directly right now. I do know it has something to do with the local Cape Coast traditional authorities, because again, 24, 25 years ago, when we entered into the negotiation, the demand for land like that wasn't like it is now. There was no, we know that in the beginning of our brothers and sisters coming, you may know some of the repatriates there. They secured land based on a handshake in some cases, and a bottle of schnapps or something of that nature. But we did not. It wasn't that loose. It was not in any way superficial. It was actually professionally done. It was actually with agreement, and we've maintained that over the years. But the details are going to come forth in the course of the next. In fact, a meeting, a follow-up meeting. We've already had a meeting with the president and the Minister of Tourism, the Minister of Diaspora Affairs, our lawyer, our principals who are there, who the lease. All of those individuals are part of a 9-member committee that the president directed to resolve this and to come back together on, within the next week. Now, one of those members is a member of our Holy Council who will be flying to Ghana shortly. So this gives you an idea of the seriousness of it for us, and also hopefully the seriousness of the response of the Ghanaian authorities, who realize the implications of that move and who want to resolve it so that the is minimized. And we appreciate them moving expediently to set this in motion, and we're looking for some type of resolution that takes into account all of the factors that we're talking about: the pain, the loss, the financial loss, and going forward. But have to say that obviously that something was being planned on the local level, because the next day there was a fence erected, and they were actually starting to erect the foundations of whatever it was that they wanted to replace our compound with. And so that lets us know very clearly that there was some major powers involved in all of this. But we do have an injunction that stopped all work going forward. So we're at that point, and we're going to allow that process to work at this particular point.
Okay, I've heard you say we and our, and I just want to make some things clear, because I know in a video that I posted, and I got it from somebody sent me the video by a young lady. I think her name is Ono, has a YouTube channel, but there was mention in there Hebrew Israelites.
Yes.
And I'm taking that as the affiliation that you and the rest are a part of this land. That, as you say, when you say we, you're talking about the Hebrew Israelites who acquired the leasing of this land 20 years ago or so,
Right.
with the intent of coming to a completion coming to a lease period of 49 years.
Right.
And so I just wanted to make sure that we are clear on that, because I know there are, somebody said Odo Inti is her name, which it is, her YouTube channel.
Okay. Odo love.
Yeah, ODO space
Yeah.
NTI. I
Odo,
want to give
Odo
her,
means love. I know that much. Yeah.
So the okay, so I just want to get that clear so everybody can understand that, yes, you being a one of the participants and also one of the senior representatives of the Hebrew Israelites in that capacity of land, in that land we're talking. I wanted to just make sure that we have, everybody knows that you are a reputable spokesperson that we speak with today.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So you may mention that they have put a halt currently. Now I've understood that, and as I bring up, I'm gonna share my screen here, but as we understand that the place has been, everything's been completely demolished down
Great.
to the
That's
ground.
true. Yes. Yeah.
And I'm gonna let this run for a second.
That's David's voice I hear. Yeah.
Yes, that's David.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, I understand that all these structures was brought down to the ground. And were y'all able to see it?
No, no, no. You
Oh,
you didn't share it yet.
I didn't share you.
I
Okay,
can
my,
only
my
hear
bad.
it.
My bad,
Yeah.
my bad. Okay, I thought I was sharing it. Well, hold up. Let's see here. Okay, there we go. Let me go back here real quick and rewind this. Yeah, I thought I shared it. I came back and said, oh, no, I didn't share it. Man, it's not even letting me share it. Let me try this again.
Mm.
Yeah, I want to share the video just to give people an idea of what had transpired here just in the last week.
Right.
And
There you go. Yeah, I can see it.
They're gonna pay for all that,
Painful to watch.
yeah,
yeah, they're gonna pay for all of that. Yeah.
I have stayed there in the past when I would come for Panafest.
mm-hmm.
I've eaten there at the beachside restaurant and juice bar. The compound had become a regular place of gathering on Fridays for the expatriate community or repatriate community, as well as locals to come by and to, in fact, we had an organic market. Anyone who was doing organic fruits and vegetables. Yeah, very painful, very painful.
Hey, why are you taking this? I got your picture.
They would play bid whist and chess and dominoes and whatever else, the brothers and sisters
Yeah,
would want to do. It became a place. We had been, when you talk about properties like this and ventures like this, naturally we know the model that the world would like you to follow. And so a lot of people would often say, well, you need to sell alcohol. But that was a red line for us. That was not something we would do. Here at home, we do our own little homemade wines, but we know already what that kind of atmosphere would lead to. In fact, when we acquired it 25 years ago, it had prior been a flop house. Everyone in the neighborhood knew that that was where a lot of illicit behavior was being was taking place. And so we were trying to bring in another spirit and another idea for development. We know what the hotels and the and things of that nature do. We had a massage wellness center where we offered full body massages and treatments and what do you call it? Um, Iridology. You know, one of the brothers there is trained in all of those modalities, health modalities. So it was a wellness center. It was a place to come and spend the day on the beach, you know, to get those treatments, to get your colonics and your kalimas, you know, to have that internal cleansing and to eat a nice, beautiful plate of fresh fruits or salads, you know, vegan foods.
Yeah.
And so we refused to go down that route of creating just another joint. And so the idea of development, the Western idea of development, would clash with that. And so, but we were saying that no, Africa needs another model of development. And I think you know that from your visit with us here.
Yeah.
So that obviously made us, you know, there were those who might have said, well, they're not doing anything with it. That's entirely not true. We've had our struggles with it. And in fact, one of the things that's claimed now after the 10-year lease had expired, fallacy and some other fallacies, one of the things that was mentioned was that our restaurant didn't have a license. Well, okay, fine, but how many establishments in Ghana might have fallen behind in their licensing, but you still don't come in on no notice and bulldoze the joint, you know? So we this was illegal any way that you look at it, and we're going through the proper channels. We have secured a lawyer, and she is very she and our team have been responding in a way that's commendable and that we give thanks for, just for them taking it this far, getting this far. But we do have an injunction on any further construction on the property, because they did move quickly. In less than 24 hours, they had demolished everything, all of our structures. And,
well, let me say,
it was painful.
Yeah, it definitely was painful. I've been out there to that property. I've eaten and I drank the smoothies, had the organic foods that were there.
Right.
Yes, my dear brother, David, had actually, I remember him taking me there, but a beautiful piece of property that I know that any outsider would lick their chops in wanting to have that beach access. Right. And the location of that spot. Right. There. Let me share this right here, because I know there are people who are inquiring about the questions about when I post this video. I made reference of the property being purchased by LGBT. Now, let me share with the people who actually watched the video all the way through. It was not me making any claim on my own accord that the LGBT have seized the property and want to buy this as a hotel resort just for clickbait. If you watch that video and listen to the end, there was and is a senior chief of Cape Coast who actually made that statement, if you all listen to that video. So it wasn't me saying it, it was him saying it. My brother, can you share anything about that information? You know, because it's hard for me to really fathom that you can, you know, state that a group of people come to buy something that, you know, investors have a business name, not a LGBT name, you know, but, you know, is this true, or do you know of any of this information about the LGBT purchasing this property, going to put up some little, you know, gay spot, hotel, resort?
No, we would not go as far as to say we have no idea actually who the the investors and backing of this particular action were and are. We can only surmise. Again, because it is beachfront, it's right by that lagoon. As you said, that property is beautiful. It's ideal for what they might want to do in the way of development. And we often know that would not be for the locals to partake of. You know, very few of the locals would actually be probably even be given access to, you know, at the end of the structure being put up. But we can't say for sure. We don't know. But I did hear the brother's comment. We can only surmise, and time will tell. But nevertheless, no, we would not venture to say that actually was who was behind this.
Yeah.
We do know that what comes with that, the kind of compromising and undermining kind of behaviors, and I mean, you know, again, in the interest of development and jobs and what have you, there's a trade-off. You know, there's a trade-off, and the trade-off is usually morally undermining of the local economy, of the local people, and we can almost certainly say that, but we would not go so far as to label it an LGBTQ venture at this particular point. We don't know. We just don't know.
You know, however which way this might turn out, I know you may mention it has been, everything has been put on a halt, and I guess even from the top, from the president down to, you know, those who are involved, that there's going to be some type of, I guess, resolution or have you. You know, when I was watching a video there, and we noticed that there were looters who were taking property, probably for their own selfish gain. Sure. And so I'm quite sure there is even that much more of a tremendous loss. But let me ask this right here, because the property that was taken, and it seems as though that I made a statement, and I'm still going to stand by it, that I believe until Ghana gets its act in order, in my opinion, nobody should buy land. I've heard too many stories. We've seen stuff like this happen. And I know people who have their properties. I know people who built homes. I know people are in good standing. But, you know, to run the risk of purchasing land and have something like this happen, what is your take on it? Are you comfortable to say that it would be safe to purchase land in Ghana, or, you know, building a house or what have you, or being that y'all even went through the steps of acquiring this land to lease, is there confidence in the system to ensure that proper paperwork that can stand firm in the courts to say that, yes, I purchased this? You know, what is your take on that?
Well, you know, and that's certainly the concern of every repatriate who's invested in land, sometimes their life savings. Of course, that's a major concern right now, and that's one of the things that we have to expect the country of Ghana to be sensitive to at this particular point, and they should be wanting to preserve the relationship and the integrity necessary for that process to continue. They announced they were behind the year of return and the ongoing opening of the right of abode and return for brothers and sisters from the diaspora. They have a stake. They have an economic stake in this idea and a moral stake in this. And so we would hope that they respond appropriately. Now, as far as, you know, what we would advise, I mean, we've been burned in the past, but one of the things that protects us is that we're a community. We're not operating as individuals. You know, we have a network of brothers and sisters who have done things before. We have a wealth of experience in certain areas, so that we would know, oh, no, you need to go through this office, or you need to talk to my friend over here who's a lawyer or who works in this office. And so when you have that kind of network and that experience, not just in Ghana, but in Benin, in Togo, in Zimbabwe, in Zambia, in South Africa, we have a wealth of, in Kenya, we're in all of those countries, and we're able to discern in many cases because we are a spiritual people. And coming out of the West, we've seen it all. We've seen it all. We know game when game is being run. And so a lot of times, our own spirit of discernment will allow us to be able to say, no, you better check. And you know how it always is. You always would say when you get burned, you said something told me I shouldn't have or should have. And that is that spirit that is there to protect us and to guide us. And if there's ever an alarm that goes off in our heads, we would always bring in another party, another element, have somebody else to come and check the paperwork, etc. And so we've been able to manage fairly well prior to now. And again, no amount of paperwork in this particular case obviously was going to stop what happened. I think they misread who we are and what the response would be, and very short-sightedly, maybe just saw one or two individuals who saw some money and flew upon the spoils, as is the biblical term. So we're hopeful. Our faith, we're going to allow this process, the due process, the political mechanisms, the legal apparatus. Again, we've secured a lawyer. We've got local and national politicians involved in this. We have friends. We have associates and supporters throughout the Ghanaian society. Again, going back to what we did in Ghana. Ben Ami went to Ghana Savior's Day, I believe it was 1994, when the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan held Savior's Day in Ghana. And Ben Ami was so touched by the then President Jerry John Rawlings making the comment that the water in the toilets of Accra was better than what was in the Volta region up country. And so Ben Ami was so moved by that he came up and said, I'm promising to provide 7 villages with boreholes. And we had no clue as to how we were going to do it because none of us were versed in drilling rigs and what have you. But as a measure of our commitment, we sent brothers to Florida, bought a rig, trained on the rig, shipped it to Ghana, and began to drill boreholes in Ghana just as we committed. And so that's just one of many of our, from schools to, again, the Regen health program, many of the commitments and the projects that we had. So our faith is not so much in the political and the legal apparatus, but just in the righteousness of our cause. And we know we take hits sometimes. We're engaged in spiritual warfare. And we know that there's a much bigger force that's arrayed against this kind of an idea, this kind of African unity. Name the brothers and sisters who took stands, even our beloved Ambassador Arcana, who took stands. If your character and your reputation is not assassinated and attacked, you will be physically attacked and assassinated. To stop this idea of our unity going forward. And so our greater faith is in that righteous cause and the righteousness of Yah that is behind, or God that is behind this particular struggle. So that's where our faith lies, and we're going to play it out. We play the long ball. The war of attrition is to frustrate you, to discourage you, to frighten you, to abandon your cause. But you got to know, hey, brother, whatever is ahead of us coming out of America, whatever is ahead of us has got to be better than what we leaving behind. We know that much. And so we trust in that, and we're going to look forward to it, and we'll keep you updated. Like I said, in the coming week, there's going to be a meeting of the different parties to this. And the president understands the ramifications in the greater African diaspora community of this negative action. So,
Well, let me say this right here, family. I want each and every one of y'all to push the like button. According to the algorithms, the likes of a video is what actually boosts its recommendations by YouTube in order to get the word out. You know, I like what you said, brother, because if we really look through history, it took losses of life, of property, in order to move forward to make things better. And
right.
this situation, as tragic as it is opening up the eyes and the ears of those who may be sitting in positions in order to create change. I know people who have lost lands, those who have been scammed. But you said something prolific that I hope people did not miss. You cannot stand alone on your own desert island to create a loud enough voice to get change. You must be in a group.
Yeah.
Me and my wife just had this conversation, not to get off topic, but I'm gonna keep it short. I was reading an article the other day, and it was a international student who was in at one of these universities.
Mm-hmm.
And it come to find out that he noticed the demographics of the classroom. And he, being a foreigner, realized that the foreigners were having higher grades than actually the black students were. And he was very interested in knowing why. To come find out, the black students were studying separately, but they were studying as a group. And this is something that we have to understand. If you stand alone, nothing could be done. That's why I tell people, stop trying to buy land and all that and be out there by yourself, because you ain't gonna have no voice. You're not gonna be, have no representation. And more than likely, you will not get compensated, or you will not be able to be restituted in what you are needed. So me personally, in this whole matter, I've said it before, don't buy land in Ghana. Matter of fact, I'm going to say this right here. I believe me, I get pushback. Ghana can do better, way better. And I've seen even my videos, not to take credit, but my videos and other people's videos, I know have hit the desktops, the laptops, the offices of some of these people in places, and I've seen changes.
Yeah.
I've seen when I've done videos about the airport and how they want to try to scam you, get money out of you and all that right there. My last 2 visits to Ghana have been smooth sailing and has been an awesome experience. They have made change. This video, I hope, will also fall into the hands of those who are in place and know we as the diaspora bring billions of dollars into Ghana. There have been people who have set up shops, who have started hospitals, who have helped out villages, who have dug boreholes, who have done for villages and community, helped out when it came to whether it is job opportunities, business opportunities. We have brought billions of dollars in, and we are greater than just beyond the year of return. We are citizens in Ghana. We are residents in Ghana, to include me. We are visitors in Ghana. We are tourists in Ghana. And until the Ghanaian government officials realize how significant we are, that if we decide to leave Ghana, the people will hurt, the people will miss out of things that we have brought into the communities, the villages, the country of Ghana. So we need to stand up, rise up to be a voice that the government can hear. And it starts with this video of you all liking this video. I thank my brother Sar for coming in to at least clear the air of confusion of what is transpiring, where the situation is at, and hopefully where it will end up so that this does not happen again. Yes, it's not a good situation, but I believe, like you do, brother, that the future will be brighter and it will be better. And I hope that the government put the land commissions in place to stop the corruption of people who can be bought out, changing paperwork, causing more confusion for landowners, to have somebody come up through the cracks to say they have the paperwork to show that they own this property, or if investors come in that wants to push local people aside or push the common man aside and take their property because of the sake of money, this has to stop.
Yeah, we're on the same page. And you mentioned the word corruption, but one of the things that we have to, you know, I was in South Africa and Congo for 9 weeks. Just got back a couple weeks ago, and so we have to be real. You know, corruption does exist, but there's a corruption at one level that's the equivalent of someone in a tree that's sawing off branches. You know, and that's Africa. That's African leaders. That's African heads of departments and whatever. And we're breaking off branches and twigs. But the real root of corruption, the real corrupter of the earth, is the European American idea. That's the real corruption. And that's the equivalent of a bulldozer at the root of the tree, which is more important for us to stop at this particular point. So we understand. And again, we can overlook the bad decisions and the greedy dangling. You know, when you mentioned about the looters, well, I mean, hey, when you have a depressed economy, when you have the haves and have-nots, you know, this is not their fault, you know. And so we have to look beyond that and see the spirit behind an issue, and not the flesh and blood. Again, we use the scripture all the time. We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but there's some principalities involved in the dynamics. But it's just, brother. Because when you look at the bank failures that are now starting to you know, the first few dominoes tipping over, you know, we're in the middle of a transition right now, and this is going to flip. We know that this is going to flip, and so we just, you know, it can be traumatic and a lot of turmoil in the beginning of this stage, but those of us who understand what time it is, we just have to bear down and weather the storm. And so we're in it for the long haul. We're not discouraged. We're not dismayed to the point of wanting to quit. No, we just roll up our sleeves and get back. And it won't be the first time. You know, I go back to that poem, you know, Rudyard Kipling's poem, If you can watch all your losses, you know, and then stoop down and build them back up with worn out tools or something to that effect. I mean, and that's us. Yeah. That's us. And that's what it's going to take at this particular stage of things. So it's still go black to Africa time.
Yeah. And I hope that even Africa will wake up and realize what's happening here in America. Yeah. And take it from me, I'm right here for a short period of time. I'll be back over into the continent.
Great.
That the cost of a living, the inflation, people are losing homes. People are gathering in other people's home to defray the cost of the expenses that they have to incur. Sure. We have to understand that the dollar is getting weaker. I had just got notified today that Tanzania and India has removed the American dollar in trading with one another in goods and services, or even in petroleums and agriculture, and exchanging in their own currency. Wow. I have mentioned about the BRIC. If you don't know about the BRIC, people, you best get to know what the BRICS is. Right. It's the Brazil, Russian, Indian, it's the Chinese, and it is the
soon to be the Arabians,
the South Africa, yeah, and soon to be Saudi Arabia, who have formed an alliance to remove the American dollar as a means of trading and selling oil and other commodities in order to place themselves at a higher position instead of an inferior position for their economies. We need to understand that Africa needs to understand there are going to be many of people flooding into the continent of Africa. And if they get these things right, they win.
Yeah.
And everybody should feel comfortable coming into countries that have a solid government that does not have loopholes or cracks in it to have situations that happen with this type of the land that has been basically taken from our people. Let me say this right here in closing. My brother, our guest here today, I thank you. For those who don't know who Sar Amadel is, he is a leader there in Dimona, Israel. Please watch my videos when I went to go visit them. They had invited me in. They treated me as family, and now I am family. And I plan on doing future tours to Dimona, Israel. Why is that? It's going to be a spiritual journey. This is a community that has been, as my brother said, fighting through a lot of issues in America, who they fought to go and get to a place that they were led to be in the land of milk and honey. That this community have overcome many adversities, still fighting to this day in the land, but yet has has a community that is not familiar to us, that has standards and statutes and laws and principles that you see a love from brothers and sisters that you hardly can find in these Western worlds. So I'm saying I thank you, brother, for coming in. For those who do not know, please look up Dimona, Israel, and see the magnificent job that the people who left America back in 1967, landed in Israel in 1969, built a community from 100 and about 30 people that flourished to about 6,000. They speak fluent Hebrew. Their children, they got schools there. They got everything that you can imagine. Own businesses and factories, are doing it big. If you ever want to have an idea of what a Black community can thrive and drive through love, adversity, and be led by the will of the Most High God, they are the example I would highly recommend everybody to go see for yourself. We as a people can stand and build together. I'll give you the last words, brother.
Well, we thank you. We're glad that that you had come. In fact, my wife and I are going to need to know if we should hold a room for you, because this coming May 31st and June 1st, we have another one of those 2 days. You know how we throw a party.
Yeah.
And it's a major overtaking. It's a major endeavor to bring people from around the world, from all points of the globe, to come and celebrate with us. So that's coming up. So I'll send you the promo materials on it, and let me know as soon as possible so we can hold this room. Because I've already got a guest from South Africa and another.
Hold the room, brother. Hold the room. Hold the room.
All right. It'd be good to have you and your family with us. But again, we are, based on the vision of our spiritual leader, Ben Ami, Africa was always, we were in 67 called a Back to Africa movement, but it was much more than that. And we knew that just going back to Africa was not going to cut it, was not going to allow us to have the foundation to survive and thrive. And we knew that it had to be a back to righteousness. It had to be a back to God movement, not in a religious sense, but in a spiritual 24/7. Every aspect of our lives had to be based on some fundamental moral righteous principles. And we strive every day to make sure that we get that right, because ultimately we know that that is who we need on our side. We need that energy on our side, that force on our side, that divinity on our side, because other than that, we're in trouble all around this planet. But again, we thank you and your audience for your support. By the way, we did mobilize very quickly to provide those brothers and sisters whose livelihood was affected by this. And we immediately set in motion something for 60 days that would sustain them. So we're good. We're well organized, and we will continue to update you and the Go Black to Africa family on updates and developments in this particular case. We thank you.
Well, thank you, my brother. I bid you farewell and peace and blessings to you and your family and the whole community in Dimona.
Great. Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
All right.
So, family, I want to just thank each and every one of you all for coming in. Please put the lights on so we can get this word spread out. I think it's a very important topic that many people have been interested in. I've been receiving emails, I've been receiving WhatsApp messages on what's really going on with the truth. Our brother, our guests have just shared inside information on where they stand to this day. And again, please, by all means, go ahead and hit the like so this algorithm or what have you will be able to spread this message for our people in the diaspora and all that there. In closing, I want to say to Ghana that I hope that they do the right thing and ensure that this type of thing does not happen again, and that we can grow together and become stronger as a community. And as my brother had alluded to, we have these issues in America. This is not an African thing. So don't think for one moment, family, that this is an African thing. You know, I was just talking to a brother here and he didn't even realize he's from Somalia living in America. And I'm a real estate agent, licensed, and there are things in place that continuously takes people property. Let me share something with you and educate you. If you own property in America, it is easy for the government to be able to take your property, whether through it's called eminent domain. Look that word up, eminent domain. Every person should know that if you own property or you own a house. Also, that many people don't even understand. If you get behind in your taxes, thus your city, your county, your state can go ahead at the courthouse, take your taxes that you owe, and go ahead and find someone. They will announce it in the newspaper. People will go and they will go ahead and select what houses they want to pay taxes on. It because you fail to pay your taxes, they can turn around and sell that to somebody to pay for your taxes. And if you don't pay your taxes, depending on the state, between 1 to 2 years, that person takes over your house. You have to go. This is what happens every day. And a lot of people don't know this. So there are other means of how even they do. Let me tell you another thing, how in America that many people think are so great and grand that they do when it comes to moving people out. Now, many people talk about gentrification, how the strong dollar, or they call it the white dollar, comes into Black communities and move people out of the ways, and then they will go ahead and rehabs these areas in order for them to live and enjoy, especially if it's in downtown areas where people have to commute far away. How do they move these people out of their houses, especially when we're talking about taxes? Because you might ask, how do you get behind in taxes? Well, we know everybody might fall into a so-called income situation or what have you. But one of the key things is to raise taxes. And most communities that might be depressed, oppressed, and suppressed because of the income, or typically elderly people who are on limited incomes, cannot squeeze or handle, like we know today, inflation. When inflation goes up, people stops buying. When people stop buying, there's less taxes for the city to pay police officers, firemen, government workers, and so on. So they have to increase taxes. When they increase the taxes, guess who gets hit the hardest? The Black community. Why? Because when you talk about limited income and you have to pay for your $350, believe me, utility bill during winter, or $350 during the hot summer, and the inflation's going up, the food's going up, the gasoline's going up, people are going to forego paying taxes first and pay for food, grocery, and electric bill first. And what happens? They get squeezed out, their properties are seized, and here comes the new neighborhood. So be aware that, family, don't think that Africa is that place that is only taking advantage maybe of these situations that we saw here today. It happens everywhere. With that, family, peace and blessings to each and every one of you all. I hope your morning, afternoon, and evening will be blessed. And I hope that you continue to follow this channel as I begin to grow and show all that is going on, not just in Africa, but damn Erica as well. Put the D in front of America, capitalize the E, damn Erica. With that, this is your man, not your boy. Go Black to Africa. Peace and blessings, family.